Alright, so here's my arcade. I'm going to turn it on. You see the LED lights, the marquee, and the light down here. I haven't bought that plastic rubbery thing to put along the sides here yet. So, emulation station. While that's doing that, let me give you a quick peek under the control panel. Look at that mess in there. Isn't that crazy? So it didn't go to hyperspin, but you can make it go into hyperspin if you want. But right now it just started in emulation station. Let me see, where is arcade? So it gives you like previews. Yeah, is that better? So most of them have previews. So jump to letter. I think you hit the back button. I still don't know which button is what, but it comes pre-mapped if you follow gameroomsolutions directions to a exact T. So it went right into the game. Yeah. So coin button works, start button works. Choose my character, I'll choose this alien guy. So I'm this guy, first player. Wow, this game just jumps right into the action. How do you reset this? Okay, it's been a while, guys. Anyway, some things you have to know, like the following, the installation instructions are not very good. They're just mere words. He does have a video that goes over the 19-inch bar top installation. I tried watching that and combining it with the words, and it was not very good. It still was very hard. I have a bunch of pieces left that I haven't even used yet on this, and I have no idea what to do with them. The other thing was that configuring it was really hard. I had to... The only way I can get his controller mappings to work is if I follow his exact instructions. If you were to go download your own image, which I think a lot of people would probably want to do, it likely won't work unless you download his image and then just add the ROMs later on. So the advantage of using someone else's images, it comes with everything. It's all inclusive, like it's the operating system, like it's the Hyperspin, RetroPie, emulation station with the ROMs. But what you can do after you download those images is just save the ROMs to a separate file, and then use his image to install like the OS portion of it and copy the ROMs over. And that's where I have it today. And that's the only way the pre-programming kind of works. Otherwise, forget about it. Turtles on time. So here's Ninja Turtles. Type OK or left right on joystick to continue. And so I got the 20-inch wide, 22-inch widescreen screen, but you can see there are like sidebars here because it was only, you know, regular 4:3 aspect ratio back in the day. So the other major problem, other than like assembling this with poor instructions and then the configuring of the controllers, which took weeks to figure out, the other part was the graphics were horrible on this until you went into like some custom settings, which I'll talk about in a little bit. And it's made it look a lot more authentic, you know, what you're used to seeing back in the day in the 90s in the arcades. Otherwise, it was very bright, the corners were very sharp, and it's just really hard to make out. But now you can see it looks pretty good, right? Now it looks a lot more authentic to the graphics that you're used to in the arcades. The great thing about this monitor is it has speakers already, so I didn't have to get his speakers. So there's nothing in these grills up here. There's nothing up there. For the marquee, I just used like a cheap LED strip from Amazon. You can get like an 8-pack for less than $10 on Amazon, and they're 12 volts, so I just wired it into like the same power sources for these lights right here. Sometimes some of these buttons do get loose from the bottom, and I have to go back and fix it. But anyways, you know, those are the main concerns that I have with this. The assembly, the configuring, just getting everything to work, and then getting the graphics to look good. So I'll show you some clips, and you can decide for yourself. If I had to do this all over again, would I have bought this? I probably would have built my own. My buddy built his own, and it wasn't that hard. I mean, it's all looks, right? All it is a Raspberry Pi. Drill some holes and put the controllers together, but it's not a bad deal. I mean, this the casing itself is only like, the cabinet is only like, I think $80, but what gets you is like the graphics that it came with. So yeah, this is the printed graphics. All around it has graphics, and this costs money. And then the controllers cost money. You got to get your memory card, you got to have a computer ready to download the images, and then you got to spend hours on the software side. Just like unzipping the images and things like that takes forever on top of downloading. Yeah, I don't know what else to say, but yeah, this is my completed unit. I really haven't played it much since. It's more of a fulfilling a bucket list item for me. You know, hopefully I'll have some time to really spend with this at some point. It's not right now. But thanks for watching. Let me know what you think. Or if you have any questions, you know, I'll be glad to try to help you out. One thing I forgot to mention that I want to add is my controller, my USB controller board actually broke. It didn't work because you know, to figure out the buttons, you have to kind of connect it all together and then plug it into a different PC and kind of test each button to see the input, see if it registers. It actually broke. Like one player didn't work. Like player 1 didn't work, player 2 worked. All right, so I just want to show you the instructions. So this is the link from his email. And if you scroll down, you'll see assembly for the cabinet, and then the 19-inch one has a video. But then if you go to the bartop large deluxe cabinet, it's a few steps in text only. And if you try to watch the 19-inch installation video and try to follow along with these words, it doesn't really go exactly the same. It doesn't really line up, but you have to use your imagination and kind of figure things out. So that was really annoying to me that the instructions were not better than this. So keep that in mind. So you can see they're clearly words, there's no images. You kind of have to figure it out and watch his other video to try to, you know, associate each step with this. And, you know, it's not the exact thing. And that's all there was that I used. You see now it's just completed. So annoying. So this is step 1, which is applying the hinges to one side of the cabinet and putting on those cam locks. So this is pretty straightforward and easy. All right, so now I'm applying, I'm installing some clips where at the top of the controller section, you know, see all the holes, all the buttons and joysticks will go into that big board. And I'm installing a clip and then a receiving end on the bottom portion that only has the 4 holes so that I can swing open the control board, make any adjustments, and then close it and it'll clip onto the bottom part securely. Now I gotta put on the cam locks for the other side of the cabinet. So I'm just putting those in right now. And it's really important to use a screwdriver and not a power drill because this wood will easily crack if you over tighten these. So definitely use your hand only. So here's one of my most frustrating parts of this, and it caused me to spend a lot of time at the hardware store. But basically the screws that were included were not enough or something like that. I don't quite remember, but let's listen into the audio clip that I recorded that day. So one issue is I've sorted all the screws and everything, and these right here are the correct screws to go with the washers and into the mount. However, I got 3 of the right sizes. One of them is extra long. There's only one of these extra long ones. There are short ones, and then there are these. And then this is one of this. So I think that was a mistake, so I'll have to go to the hardware store later and replace this with one of these. I don't want to go through the hassle of cutting this. I'm going to attempt to set up the controller. So before I do that, I have to cut holes into this beautiful artwork here so that I can plug the controllers and joysticks in. So the recommended approach was to use a knife and cut an X so that you can poke everything through. So this is what I'm going to do right now very carefully. So there's the X right here. You can see that? And I'm just going to keep doing that for the rest of these holes here. Alright, so I've cut X's through all of the areas where the controller buttons would kind of protrude through. It's hard to tell. And I've installed one button with the LED light. And let me go ahead and install another one to show you how it's done. So basically, this is the top of the button. It clicks. And this piece right here has a little yellow, orange thing right here. And this is what registers the click. And you see the wiring goes into that. So basically, the first thing you do is put the buttons through. So I have mine, player 1 on the left is going to be blue, player 2 is going to be red. So you're just going to poke these right through. So I already cut X's. So you should be able to just poke this right through. Push it in, right? Nice and flush. And on this side, you're going to take one of these washer nut thingies, put it this side up like this, and screw it on tight. Let me just change this so that's a little easier for me. And I just want to make sure everything is lined up in the same orientation. So before I tighten it, I want it to be like angled like this, 45 degrees. And then I'll tighten it. Okay. So it'll be easier for the buttons. And the idea is so that they all go in the same direction. So back to the button. So when you press it, those white things come up, and it's supposed to, one of them will hit this orange trigger right here. Okay. So before we do that, we're gonna attach this to this. Because the LED attaches to this. So the LED light, make sure you get the right one, blue, goes into here. This goes into here. So there's really only one way to do it. So you basically line up one hole. There's a little thing that sticks out right here, and there's another one right here, and they go into these black holes right here. So you kind of put one on first, right? Put one on first, so onto the hole, and then you kind of have to bend the plastic on the other side a little bit. So now it looks like this. So I've only got one end connected, which is this one, and I'm gonna do this one next. I'm just gonna slide it right into the hole. See that? Did you hear that snap? And it should look like this. And now when you push the button, it'll hit this orange one. Just to show you, I have another one right here. So when it's attached, it's gonna be something like, when it's attached, it's gonna be like this. See how it makes contact? Before I put that on, I'm gonna put this LED. It looks like this. It's just 2 prongs. It's blue for blue, I hope, with the light at the end. Just gonna poke it in, and it's gonna look like that. Okay? And then you see right here, right there, there's a groove right there. There's another one on the other side, right there. See that? It's basically gonna line up to the groove that's on the button right here. These little nubs right here, I don't know if it comes out in the camera, but there's like little blue nubs that stick out here and here. You see it right here and right there. Okay, so those are gonna line up. So when you put it in, you can see it. Let me get it closer. Gonna line it up and then just churn, and that's it. And then you should see that the button presses the orange, right? And that's it. So I'm gonna do that for all 20 of these, and I'll be back. So one thing I forgot to mention was that before you put the buttons in, don't forget to put your plexiglass thing on top to protect your artwork, okay? So if you got this with your order, make sure you peel this nicely and stick it on the correct way. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to peel this. There's no tab or anything for you to pull, so you kind of have to just kind of find it. And I did. It wasn't that hard. So there's one side. There, that's how it's gonna go. Circles everywhere to protect the artwork underneath. So you definitely want this clean before you apply the buttons. All right, I got this as clean as I could get it. So I'm about to wire the controllers up. So here's all the harnesses that I'll be using. One thing though, so you can see on the board it says P0 for player, this will be player 1 because this one says P1, and the USB adapter is down here. So based on the diagram shared on the Game Room Solutions site, you know, it's correct, player 1, player 2. However, the problem I have is that, so the diagram for the player 1 is correct. It's showing like there's a number 1 right here, and there's a number 9 down here on the lower left, and then there's a 10, and then there's an 18. So it's correct in like that's pin 1 through 9 and then 10 through 18. But on this side, it's showing pin number 1 is on the lower right up to pin 9 and then 10 through 18. But over here, you can see that it's showing 1 is on the lower left, not on the lower right. So it doesn't add up. So that's something that I'll have to figure out. Kind of sucks. But yeah, let's see. So here's the wiring. So I'll use this button as an example. This right here is the positive for the button, and the one right at the top is the negative. And these go straight to the control board. This yellow one right here is the positive for the light, and the black right there is for the negative. So you kind of have to do 4 connections for every single button that lights up and clicks. For the joystick, it's just 5 wires out, 1 negative, and 4 wires for each direction, up, down, left, right. And here's the other side. Everything goes to this control board right here in the back. So that control board right there. And here's what the lights look like. Sorry, my kids are watching YouTube. Here's the front. I didn't get the lit joysticks because I thought that was kind of corny. And I'm sorry I didn't film the hooking up with these wires, but it's really tough myself because I need both hands. Yeah, as you can see, like I can barely hold this and film this right now. Already? My buttons don't work. This stupid controller don't work. So here's how I got the graphics to look better. You have to configure the basic lib retro settings, and then you choose the system, and you have to turn on the video shader. And within the video shader for each system, you have to choose like CRT, Pi, GLS, LP, which is what I did. And here's the before.
the configuration. You see how jagged it is, and here's the after. It looks a lot better and more reminiscent of the 90s
So here's
graphics.
my arcade cabinet from this side. And then from this side. So there you go. It looks pretty nice for me.